We're not using the pressure canner. We're not using a water bath. We are going to make freezer jam and jelly. In our first recipe, we are gonna make strawberry jelly with frozen strawberries. Oh yeah, can't get any easier. Aprons on, let's go. Well, it'll be more of a jam than a jelly. We're going in my freezer for my big bag of strawberries. I had a lot of strawberries left over in June that we weren't gonna eat through fast enough, so I froze them, and now we're gonna make the jam. These strawberries were already washed and cleaned before I froze them. Some of them already have the green tops off and some don't. So I'm gonna go in as best as I can and get those tops off. And this bowl is going to sit out and it's gonna start thawing out. Okay, it took pretty much the day to get this thawed. But now it is all thawed out and it has a lot of juice. And we're keeping all of that. And we're gonna get some help to thicken this up with some Sure Gel. Some of my freezer jams, I don't need Sure Gel, but because these were already frozen and we have all that juice that we don't want to waste from it, there's all that flavor, I'm going to need help thickening it up besides just using sugar and the natural pectin. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend up these strawberries the best that I can with my immersion blender. You can run these in the blender or your magic bullet if you want. I'm just going to do it this way. And here it is all blended up. It's still clumpy, but not like big chunks of fruit. So I'm just measuring out what I have in here. I have no idea how many cups of strawberries I have now. In this big measuring bowl that I have, it says that I have 8 cups, but I have a little bit left over in the bowl, so just a little over 8 cups of strawberry puree. So I know for sure I'm gonna use 4 cups of sugar, but I'm gonna put them in at 2 cups at a time and stir to help dissolve them so there's no chunks. So based off of other recipes I've seen and taste testing the puree at this point, I'm adding in 2 more cups of sugar, so in all 8 cups. So when I'm stirring all this sugar in, I need to let it stand for 10 minutes and stir it occasionally. We gotta break down that sugar and dissolve it as much as we can. Now I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've never done this before. I've never made jam from a frozen berry, and I have never used Sure Gel before. At least I don't think I have, not in this way. So I am following the instructions that Sure Gel is giving me. So Sure Gel tells me to use 2 cups of the crushed strawberries, and then in the strawberries, 4 cups of sugar. Now that's if you haven't already added your sugar. But to mix this, they're saying that I need to boil 3/4 cup water with 1 of the packages of the fruit pectin. I'm gonna dissolve that up really good, stir it consistently, and then I'm gonna let it boil, stirring for 1 minute. Now that that's done, I'm gonna add it to the fruit mixture. And we're gonna stir it for 3 minutes or until most of the sugar is dissolved. So as you can see, it does thicken quickly. Now don't fret if it's not thick enough for you at this point, because later on, I'll be talking about how it needs to sit out. To store the jam in, I'm using the ball freezer jars. Now these are plastic containers. I love these because they're stackable, freezable, and these ones I'm using are 8 ounces each. So you wanna fill your containers immediately. For this first one, I'm just gonna try to pour it in. It did okay, but now I'm just gonna spoon it in. Honestly, I don't know if it worked any better. You wanna fill them up to 1/2 inch to the top. So I'm getting that in there, making sure that the sides and the rim are wiped down good, and then I'm getting the lids on. And these are gonna stand at room temperature for 24 hours. And then the jam is ready to use. You can store it in the refrigerator up to 3 weeks. I've done it more, or in the freezer up to a year. And when you want to pull one out frozen, just pop it in your fridge. It thaws out in your fridge and you're good to go. I did repeat this process and I filled up 9 of the ball jars and 2 other containers. The 2 other containers I just kept in the fridge. We're gonna go through this fast. And these other 9 containers are going straight to the freezer. We have all been craving strawberry jelly, especially with homemade bread. This turned out so good. See how nice and smooth it goes on the bread? It's so pretty. Have it with biscuits, homemade bread, on an English muffin. Oh, see how pretty this is? No, I've never done this before. So if I can do this, you could definitely do this. Next, we're gonna make freezer strawberry jam, but with fresh strawberries. They're gorgeous. I got them for $1.25 a bundle here. The first thing I'm gonna do is trim off the tops and get them all washed up. So I got this nifty strawberry contraption from one of you, I believe. And it's so handy. You could go in and like core out strawberries, super easy. You just go in right in the middle, open it up, stick it in, twist, and bam. There you go. So I'm gonna do this to all my strawberries. My jars are pint jars, and the recipe that I have is from the Ball canning book. and it makes 4 pints. I'm gonna need 2 quarts of strawberries, which is 8 cups. And this supposedly makes 4 pints. I'm just gonna mash them. I'm not even gonna bother cutting them. Saving a step. All right, I'm gonna use this thing from Pampered Chef. It works really good. So I'm just going to press and twist, and it's gonna crush up these for me. This is why I said don't even bother cutting like your strawberries, because you have to mash them anyway. So cutting them really defeats the purpose. Now, if you want jelly, you can blend these up really well, like in your blender, if you want more of a jelly. But we're gonna do jam. We want some chunks, and this is gonna cook down and break down more. We're gonna need 6 cups sugar. You can use honey, but I'm not sure what ratio you're gonna need. But when it comes to jam and jellies, it takes a lot. But I'm not using any pectin at all in this. We're just gonna cook it down real good. Now, we're gonna turn this on. We're gonna dissolve all this sugar. Turned my stove on medium for right now. So let's get that sugar dissolved. But you can add lemon juice if you want. It's supposed to help. But I know a lot of recipes people will use lemon juice when they use pectin. So I'm not sure. But if you want to use lemon juice, you could put 1/4 cup in. Alright, I'm going to crush this up just a little bit more. We want to bring this to a rapid boil. And you do want to stir because you do not want this to stick and burn. So it's something that you do have to like baby and watch. To test your jam, you take a plate or that you've had in the freezer, pour some on. You could stick it back in the freezer, but let it cool for a minute, and you're gonna do the pull apart test with your finger to see how thick it is, and then you know how close you're getting. I had to get a glove because it is so hot. You can see it's cooked down a lot. It's getting darker. It's getting thicker. But look at that color. It is like getting deep, deep, deep. This is the finger test. You go like this. That's pretty dang good. Look at that. That's not bad. I'm gonna let this go for a couple of minutes, and then we'll take it out and ladle it into our jars. All right, I took this off the heat. It's at a really good thickness. We're just gonna let this calm down. I'll spoon off any foam that's on top. Now I'm going to hurry and ladle this in, leaving a 1/4 inch free up top for expansion. And it tastes so good, and it's just sugar and strawberries. All right, I'm going to wipe down the tops, and then I'm gonna put the seal part on, and then finger tip tight, and then I'm gonna tip it upside down for a few minutes, and then we'll tip them back over. And they're gonna do their own sealing this way because the jar is piping hot with that jam. So let's keep pouring, leaving a 1/4 head space. Don't fill it too high. Now, if you want to put this just straight into your refrigerator to use, wait till it cools when this is all done cooling, and it'll stay good in your refrigerator 6 to 9 months, you guys. It's pretty great. I don't think I'm gonna get 4 pints. It cooked down a lot. I bet I'm only gonna get the 3 out of this batch. So in this plastic container, I'm gonna put the rest of the jam because it's not going to fill another jar. So that will cool, and that will go in our refrigerator. Now I'm going to take these jars that we flipped over and flip them back over. They're super hot, okay? And they could seal on their own, and you could hear a pop, but if not, you're fine. Just stick them in your freezer when they cool off completely. And then we're just gonna wait. Oh, but look how gorgeous the color is, you guys. So this one has cooled off, and I just want to show you how thick it got, that you don't even need pectin. Just the longer it cooks, the thicker it'll get. Isn't that so pretty? And it is so yummy. And the last recipe I'm going to share with you is a freezer mixed berry jam. You need about 9 quarts of berries. I'm using strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries. The recipe says 9 cups of crushed berries. I think I'm going to crush these up in a big bowl that I have and see how many cups we get, because that really does determine your sugar. I'm not sure how many strawberries I have in there, like cup-wise, but I do have 3 cups of the blackberries and 3 cups of the blueberries. All right, Boston asked if I could please smooth out the all-berry one. And I was like, all right, he doesn't really like chunks. Strawberry jam he doesn't mind too much, but for this all-berry jam, he said, could you please make it smooth? So I'm gonna make it as smooth as I can. All right, it's about 8 cups, so we are gonna work with that. Now we're gonna add our sugar. And here's 4 cups, and I'm gonna add another 2. So we're going to dissolve the sugar and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna cook it down. So I've got lots of clumps of the sugar in there that I'm working through, make sure it gets all dissolved. Same process, you're gonna bring it to a boil. You're gonna get it nice and hot. It's gonna take a while. We're just gonna keep stirring, cooking it down. And then we'll do the cold plate test again with this one, so we'll do the same process. All right, so all the sugar is dissolved, and really baby this again and watch. But this is gonna taste so good. It's growing, huh? I don't know why it does it. It just does when it starts to boil. I think it gets super frothy and it builds up. So I'm lowering my heat some, and then I'm just gonna carefully stir it. I have a glove on. You guys gotta be very careful if this gets really hot, and once it gets going and starts going back down, this will reach in the 200s. Usually I will pull out my candy thermometer, but I can't find it today. And usually this could get up to 220 degrees, so please be careful. You can see how it went back down after it like grew high. And now it's just gonna thicken and keep reducing. This one thickens up quicker than the strawberry because you got the blackberries in there with their awesome little pectin, natural pectin going on. Doesn't pull back in too quickly. I'm gonna let this go for another 2 minutes. Not bad, not bad of a test right there. That's what you're looking for. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. I'm gonna ladle them in the jars, and then we'll put them upside down again for 5 minutes, and then flip them over and they'll seal. And you're like, oh, but it looks so liquidy. It gels up very fast, you guys. And I found this funnel in the canning section at Walmart if you're looking for a funnel. Same thing with wiping down the top. Upside down on the mat. Next one. This smells so good. And it tastes good too. The kids will use this one more in their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But they go in waves. They do like strawberry jelly. I'll for sure get 4 pints out of this. So now these are going to be upside down for 5 minutes. I'll flip them over and they'll start popping and sealing. Here's the leftover that was in the pot. That's settling up. So now we're going to, these are going to be hot still. Turn these over, they'll seal, and we're going to leave them there and not touch them. It's good to not touch them for like a day. I don't touch them for a day. Or if I start in the morning, then I could put them away at night, but I really don't touch them for a long time. And we have berry jam. If you make jam, what tips do you have for us? I would love to know. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon. Bye.